And then that's Naaman, he departed and went and took with him, listen to this, listen to what he took with him. 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothes. That's worth a lot of money. Are you following me? This is worth a lot of money. He took a big gift. He took a big offering. He took a big gift. Now, why did he do that? Why do you think he brought a big offering? He expected to pay for his healing. He thought he was going to need to make an offering to buy the healing from the prophet. It reminds me of that testimony video we just watched. She's all the things she's got to do and not do, and when she's got to quit doing this and she's got to start doing that, all the different things she's got to do to earn a healing from God. It's the same spirit Naaman is plagued with. I got to bring this massive gift. I got to bring this to him. Are you following me? So that's what he does. He brings that in the 10 changes of clothes. Look at verse 6. That's Naaman, brought the letter from the king of Aram. He brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, and this is what the letter says, and now as this letter comes to you, behold, I have sent Naaman my servant to you, that you may cure him of his leprosy. Well, that's very interesting. The king of Aram says to the king of Israel, I'm sending my servant to you that you, king of Israel, may cure him, my servant, of his leprosy. That's not what the little girl said. And it's also not at all what God was doing in the moment. The king had a place, but it wasn't to administer healing. That was the prophet's job. That was the man of God's job. Are you following me? So he says, maybe you'll cure him of his leprosy. And then look at watch this, verse 7. When the king of Israel read the letter, he freaked out. When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes, which is a sign of grief. That's a demonstration of grief to the Jew. Like when they lose a son or when there's tragic news, they tear their clothes. He tore his clothes. He's really concerned about this. He tore his clothes. And said, am I God to kill man of his leprosy? What is the king basically saying? He's saying, I can't do that. I'm not God. I'm not a man of God. But remember, what's the state of things between Israel and Aram at this time? They're at war. This is an interesting exchange. I mean, it took a lot for the king of Aram to send his servant like this, right? And so the king reads this letter and it says, am I God? And they watch this. He says, but consider now and see how he is seeking a quarrel against me. He's looking for an excuse to attack us again. If I send his servant back, he's going to say I wouldn't heal his servant and they're going to attack us again. This is just a trick. Do you see what's happening here? But you know what's interesting? I want you to see what's interesting. Look at the next verse. It's verse 8, and now we're in your notes. It says, it happened when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes. In other words, the king of Israel didn't tell Elisha. This guy came to the king to do this miracle, and for whatever reason, the king never managed to think about the man of God. Isn't that something? They knew that what Elijah could do. They knew about his powers, how he would walk in the supernatural, how he did. They knew that. They knew that he operated in more gifts, more supernatural miracles than even Elijah had. See, he knew that, but for whatever reason, in the moment, listen to me, in the moment of the panic and the fear and the concern, he forgot about the things of God, and all he could think about was the things of the kingdom. His kingdom, this earth, the natural. Doesn't that happen to us? We go to the doctor, we get a bad report, and all of a sudden we forget everything we've ever learned about God's goodness and grace and love and mercy. All of a sudden we forget all about 2 Peter 2:24. Is it 1 Peter 2:24? I don't know. One of the Peters 2:24. By his stripes we were healed. Which one is it, second or first? Third. Yeah, thank you. Whichever one. The scripture says, by his stripes, by Jesus' stripes, we were healed. We forget that. She quoted it in the testimony video from Psalm 103 about, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget none of his benefits, who forgives my iniquity and heals all my diseases. We forget that. I do. I tend to. When I get a bad report, I tend to forget all about all the things that the Lord has done, all the things that the Lord has spoken. And the king seems to have done that here. I mean, he's certainly right to not try to do something he can't do. He doesn't operate in the power of God. But I wonder how different things might have been had he remembered Elisha. Not necessarily in the result with Naaman, but I wonder what that would have. I wonder how differently his reign would have gone. Anyway, that's probably just a wondering of mine. Anyway, so it happened when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes. Look at this. He sent word to the king. Since the king wouldn't send word to him, he sent word to the king. Why have you torn your clothes? Now let him, he's talking about Naaman, let him come to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came, listen to this. So Naaman came with the horses and the chariots and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. Now, hold on a second. Horses and chariots. What does that sound like? War. Why do you think he has horses and chariots? Because they're at war. He probably did that for his own protection. Right? He's going into hostile territory. He's not going to raid this time. But, I mean, they're not unfamiliar with seeing Naaman come with horses and chariots. But this time, he doesn't come to a city to raid it. He comes to the man of God's house. He comes to Elisha's house, right? You following? Now watch this. So he comes to the door of the house of Elisha. Verse 10, Elisha sent a messenger to him. We don't even know the name of the messenger. This is some little nobody that served Elisha. Just a servant of Elisha's. Elisha sent a messenger to him, a servant saying, go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and your flesh will be restored to you, and you'll be clean. And he turns around and goes inside. I mean, I can see this playing out in my head. Maybe you can see this too. I can see, here's Naaman and his retinue, and he's on his horse, and he's got his flags, and all his gear, and his armor, and they're all there, and there's this it's a big deal. They're like a parade just to get to Elisha's house. They get to Elisha's house, and they're outside the door, and nothing happens. And they're like, I don't know, blow the trumpet. The high warrior Naaman is here. And they look toward the door. Nothing. Almost hear the crickets. They're kind of just long. I imagine it was probably long enough for the horses to start, kind of shuffling a little bit. And the warriors all kind of get nervous, like, So Elisha, and they're just waiting, and pretty soon the door opens. You can see in the doorway, it's like dark inside, and they're waiting. They're expecting to see Elisha come out in his robes with his staff and his long beard. And instead, it's this little messenger comes out. And he looks up at him and he says, go and wash in the Jordan 7 times and you'll be clean. And he goes back, ka-tunk, the door shuts, and they're just standing there. I can see all of this in my mind.